Hey there guys, it's Vocal Pineapple, and today we're going to talk about another top 5 unsolved mysteries left to answer in My Hero Academia. This is a video series we were doing a little bit before. I think there's like 6 other parts you can go find on my channel right now covering a lot of different unanswered questions that are still left in this series because people still think that there's like not all that much to be explained. But there's 6 parts, or I guess now 7 parts of things, 5 things or 6 things, so they do a bonus every time, that are left to explain. So let's talk about it. And the bonus question for this video is going to be, who is your favorite hero in My Hero Academia and who is your favorite villain? And with both of those in mind, who would win in a fight between the two and how do you think it would go? Please answer that question in the comment section below. Let me know who your favorite hero is, who your favorite villain is, and who would win in a fight between the two of them. I really want to know the answer to that. And maybe I'll do a little compilation video taking the answers to that question and just talk about how I think those fights would go if I see enough of those answers in the comment section below. But we're going to get right into asking all these questions after that intro. So let's get to it. Hit it! Unsolved mystery number 1 left in My Hero Academia for this video is going to be, will Kendo Rappa ever return for his rematch or side-by-side fight with Kirishima? Now we have Kendo Rappa, this really strong character that Kirishima fights during the overhaul arc, right? And Kirishima obviously needs Fat Gum's help to get that fight settled, but at the end of the fight, we actually get this little section where Rappa is like, hey, that guy right there, Kirishima, I want to fight that guy again. I want to see that guy again. And usually when Horikoshi does stuff like that, when he leaves that kind of stuff in the air, it's actually because we are going to in fact see those kind of characters return or have another presence in the future somehow, right? So we've kind of been waiting for Rappa to somewhere appear kind of like since then, but it hasn't happened. And now we're in the final arc of My Hero Academia, it seems. So will we see Rappa return in this final arc, right? And if he does, I'm sure we're not going to see him on some random battlefield, right? It would probably have to be the same battlefield that Kirishima on. So with that said, since Kirishima and Mina are both in the same battlefield that Gigantomachia is being held, fighting the person who took out Midnight, do you think it's possible for Rappa to come in and kind of help them in that process, right? Or would he want a rematch like in full? Would he still be kind of on his villain bag? Or do you think now that Overhaul's group is over and whatnot, that Rappa is more so here for a good fight, right? And what better fight would there be and what more of a challenge would there be than fighting Machia, right? And being able to fight alongside Kirishima, who he's already shown some respect for, I feel like that would be really cool to see, especially since Kirishima has like that perfect defense. He has some offense, but he has like that perfect defense. And then you have Rappa, who has like a very strong offense. And I feel like that combination, you kind of need that to take on someone like Machia, right? I already think that Mina is gonna put Acid Man on Kirishima's Unbreakable so that Kirishima can have some more like staying power with his attacks and, you know, actually pierce through Machia in a certain sense. But I think it is going to take a little more than that, right? To do the amount of damage that it would take to take Machia out. And I do think that somehow, some way, it's going to be Kirishima and Mina together, working together to get that taken care of, right? The question for me is just whether or not Rappa is going to be there and how they could pull it off. So what do you guys think, right? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think Kendo Rappa is going to return to the world of My Hero Academia? And do you think he's going to fight side by side with Kirishima against Machia? And on top of that, how do you think that would go, and how do you think they would maybe pull a win out? The second question in this video is going to be, what will happen to UA after the war is over? Now we know that UA allowed their students to be used pretty much as child soldiers in 2 different wars now. This is literally the second time that they've been enlisted more or less to just go on against a wave of villains in a seemingly kind of giant war. And we know that the first war was pretty dangerous, right? There was multiple characters who didn't make it. Thankfully, none of the students ended up passing away, but there's characters who just didn't survive. And in the second war arc at the end of the series, we see people getting maimed. Like Jiro is kind of lost one of her ears, I believe, already. Bakugo might be down an eye, and he definitely is going to have some facial scarring. Endeavor has lost an arm, but he's not a student, you know what I mean? But like, that level of danger is very present in this arc, and I don't think this is going to be the end of characters losing, you know, limbs or various things in the series as this arc is ending. So how can that be reconciled with the parents of these students, right? If, like, how is Jiro's mom going to feel, or her dad going to feel, that she lost one of her ears and that she has these scars on her face in a battle that she really had no place being in? You know, like, Jiro is taking on All for One. I'm sure her parents, despite how cool it is that she's being heroic and doing all this great stuff, I'm sure her parents would really rather her not have to be there and be enlisted in this battle. So that pretty much leads to the question of whether or not the school can actually remain open under current leadership in the future, or will Nezu and the whole staff have to resign? And if so, who are the heroes that you could see maybe taking their place? It's already kind of hard to envision a world in the future where UA still exists, especially after seeing it mostly destroyed by Shigaraki, right? And this battle that's going on in the battlefield around UA. But if it does somehow get back to where it was in the ground, or, you know, they rebuild it or something, do you think the staff would stay the same? And do you think there would even be a school in the first place, right? Do you think UA is just done, or maybe the hero school system is going to drastically change after this? Or do you think UA will be fine, and at the very least they'll just have to change staff, or they won't allow the current staff to work there anymore? Number 3 is going to be, did All For One knowingly create One For All? So I know this is going to be a very, very big point of contention in this video, right? We have All For One who created One For All, and that enabled people to go on moving forward with the hope that All For One could eventually be defeated and growing this power. And it's presented to us as something that All For One doesn't really know about, something that like happened by accident, that he created this quirk not knowing that his brother had a quirk, and then it ends up being his ultimate downfall, right? My idea, though, is maybe All For One created One For All on purpose, right? Because in My Hero Academia Heroes Rising, we see that Nine has a quirk vision. And I remember there were interviews from the actual staff of the movie when that movie was about to come out that detailed to us what quirks Nine had specifically. And I remember very, very clearly that it was told to us that Nine's quirk vision comes from his version of All For One. It's not another quirk that he has. All For One for Nine is described as the ability to take quirks, know their weaknesses, and hunt them down and seek them, right? And see them. That's what the quirk vision was a part of in the Heroes Rising movie. So if that's the case, if Nine had a kind of lesser version or a copy of All For One in some way, very much in the same way that All For One himself has with the Shigaraki, well, Shigaraki has the original. But if Nine did have a very, very similar loadout of All For One to All For One, and if that quirk vision is actually part of All For One, then does that mean that All For One, when he gave the quirk to his brother, already knew that his brother had that quirk, right? And did he pretty much give him a power that would go down the generations and serve as a battery for himself to get stronger in the future when it was finally time to take over? Because my theory is that All For One created One For All as a way to ensure utter dominance in the future. Because if he ever gets that quirk once it's been powered up, he'd be literally unstoppable, right? And right now, All For One, if One For All didn't exist, there's still ways that people would be able to struggle, right? We see that Endeavor and Hawks and various other characters are actually giving him some trouble. And Mirio and Aizawa and all those characters are actually giving Shigaraki some trouble. So they're not literally undefeatable. And I know that All For One is the kind of character who really wants to be literally undefeatable. So what if he created One For All on purpose, so in the future he could take it and make himself invincible? And that also plays into the fact that he always wanted his brother to be by his side. Well, with this, if he does take One For All, his brother will always be by his side because of the vestige. And that's kind of another sick and twisted way that All For One could have planned for the future on a very, very long-term basis. Number 4 is going to be, what will Shoto's hero name be? Now we know that Shoto is a placeholder hero name. So the question is going to be, will Shoto take the name Endeavor if Endeavor passes away? Or will Shoto's hero name be more of a fusion between Endeavor's and maybe Rei's name, right? Like maybe taking some of that from his mom, or like just what do you picture it being, you know? Because Shoto's had a very, very interesting journey throughout the series. He started off really, really claiming his mom's side and kind of denying his dad's side. Then he got his dad's side and kind of started using fire a little more and embracing that and working under Endeavor. And now we're at a place in the series where Shoto's kind of accepted both of his sides equally, you know what I mean? Like for their flaws, for the good things, for the bad things, he's taking it all in and just trying to be a very, very centered person. And we see that with his new technique, Phosphorus, that pretty much gives you both qualities of both things in a really, really interesting way. Now, with that said, what is going to happen with Shoto's hero name, right? Like, we know there's only a few characters whose hero name we don't actually know, like, at the end of the day, what it's going to be. Bakugo, I know he recently just got his. In the recent war arc, so I'm wondering how long it's going to be until we see what Shoto's is going to be. Probably like right at the end of the series, likely, or maybe during some point in this war arc, because we know that Dabi's not finished. It doesn't seem like he's done, so there is going to be some more stuff going on the Todoroki battlefront. So now So that definitely has me wondering if we'll see kind of a hero name explained for Shoto, or maybe he'll come up with one on the spot while he's facing Dabi, or after, or as a consequence of facing Dabi. So that's going to be my question to you guys. Do you think Shoto's hero name is going to be coming soon? And what do you think it would be? And do you think it would be some sort of combination of Endeavor and Rei's names together, right? To kind of further that Todoroki plotline of him accepting both halves of who he is and where he's coming from. And finally, the biggest unsolved mystery left in the entire series, I think in any of these videos, even if I come up with another one, is going to be, what will the final page of My Hero Academia look like? Will it be a recreation of the first color page double spread of someone new watching Deku and his friends take down like a giant-sized villain next to the train? You know that page where Deku's like in the audience, in the crowd, watching Mount Lady or whoever, or like Kamui Woods fight the giant? Do you think the last page would pretty much be a recreation of that, but with our characters right now being the heroes that pull up and fight a threat as adults and stuff, and with a new generation looking at them like, oh, that's so cool, and being fans of quirks? Or do you think even like instead of the populace just watching, you'll see more people being helpful, like getting people off to the side and kind of like trying to be supportive in what way they can as a result of all the changes that have happened to society during the course of My Hero Academia, thanks to Deku and his class and everyone kind of changing the way that society works at large in the series? I think another potential final page for the series could be a picture of Class 1A or Deku of All Might, but I really want to know from you guys, how do you picture the final page of My Hero Academia looking like? What would make you happy, right? For that last page, that last impression you're going to get before the series is over and we're never going to get anything else again besides maybe novels and stuff. What do you want the last thing you see to be? I know in Naruto it was like the Hokage mountain and everything. Like different series have different ways of doing it and leaving you with like a goodbye. How do you think Horikoshi is going to do it, and what do you think is going to be like to make you happy? That's pretty much what I want to know. Please answer all those questions in the comment section below if you have any answers for them. Let me know any questions you want asked in the next video, and this is Pineapple. I love seeing you guys twice in a day. I'll see you guys later. Peace.